Hey guys, my name is Savin Jauke. I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, and a content creator. But above all, I am an engineer by training. Now, on today's video, I want to share some of the powerful lessons that I've learned which you can use on your professional life. But before we can get there, please share, subscribe, and comment below. So I want to take you on some of the journey of lessons that I've learned in the past year and which I have used on my own professional life, which can make you to be a better person. Because I think all of us, we're always in a situation where we're looking for how to make our lives better. And I think that some of the lessons that I'm going to share with you today, it's really going to change your life, because I personally have been in situations where I had to move from one industry to the other or one job to the other. And one thing that I really realized that is very interesting for many of us, or that is very surprising or very empathetic in for most of us, is the fact that most of us, we are first generation in everything that we do. So what does that mean? It means that you are the first person at home to buy a car, you're the first person at home to get a proper, maybe professional job, you're the first person at home to get a house. So most of the things, or most of us as black people per se, is that most of the things that we experience or we do in life, we are usually the first person to do it. So it means that you'll have to go out in the world, either you study about it or you read about it. There's no much basic knowledge or basic understanding how things work, right? And personally, I've been in that type of a situation where, when I grew up being like the smart kid, that kid that usually gets sent to a shop by the teachers, again, go and get buy food for us during like your long break or your short break, and then you're always hanging out around to say that, what, maybe when the food is left, they're gonna call me to give them, like, to give me the leftovers. So I was that kid, and I had so much misconception about work and about education that I had to do so much unlearning in my life and in my professional life per se. Because when you get to work and when you leave school, you realize that somehow these worlds are not corresponding. Like, it's sort of like the work world is different from what you have learned from school, and what you have learned from school is different from what you have learned at home. So these three worlds, it looks like it needs like its own individual knowledge to be able to survive, right? So I want to talk to you about the three fundamental things that you need to have for you to be able to have a successful professional life. And obviously, there's no guarantee to this, but I can tell you that if you lead a life that is accompanied by these three components, you are sure that you can increase your probability to be in a situation where you can land a good job and you can foster relationships that eventually put you in a situation where you actually get that job or that business or whatever you want to do in your life, right? Now, obviously, some of the lessons that I'm going to share with you, it's very broad. Some will help you as a creative, that's what will help you as an entrepreneur, some will help you as just a 9 to 5 person. Because sometimes we always want to compartmentalize ourselves and people. We want to say everybody should be in business. No, not everybody should be in business. Or we say everybody should go to work. No, everybody should not go to work. We need all of us, right? So lesson number one that I've learned to make sure that you succeed in your career or in your professional life is that you need to have a good attitude. Now, when I was growing up, I used to hear this, you must have a good attitude, you must have a good attitude. I'm like, but guys, what is really all these things about attitude? Now, so one thing that happened, or maybe let me just give you a quick story about attitude, is that I went into WITAR classes in one of the high schools when I was at home. So what happened when we were there is that this guy came, and then, because I love words, right? So he came and then he started teaching us about like the importance of life and just the basic life lessons. And after that, he said that, guys, what do you think is important in life? Is it money? Is it confidence? Is it what? So we mentioned all those things that we thought were important in life, right? So what he will do, he will denote every letter to like a number. So we'll say A is number 1 and say B is number 2. So you will add all the letters that we have came up with. And he was like, can you see that all of this doesn't give you 100%? But when you put the word attitude, all the sum total of the letters that constitute attitude, it gives you 100%. So that's what you need in life. You need a good attitude. So I realized that, wait, I didn't realize how much important a good attitude is. So what I want to say to you right now is that you need a good attitude, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a corporate 9 to 5 job, whether it's a business, whatsoever you do, having a good attitude will always be a good thing to do. So you always have to remember that. As a matter of fact, most of the opportunities that I've received in life, I've received them not because of skills per se. I've been in rooms where I was the most like underqualified person, and because of the attitudes that I have towards life, I got the opportunity. So that's number one. You need to work on your attitude. Number two, networking. Now, obviously, before I go to this one, in South Africa, we've got that, connotation of networking and nepotism. We really don't have a good understanding of the two, to say that, what is nepotism and what is networking. So let me just give you a brief. So nepotism is a situation where, or it's a system where you give someone opportunity based on the relationship, not based on the skill or value you're giving to them. That's number one. Networking is an opportunity, or it's a system where you give someone an opportunity based on their capabilities and the relationship that you have with them. So let me talk now about networking. So when it comes to networking, what has really helped me a lot in my life was, let me say three things. Let me say two things for now. One thing was I was intentional about it. So I was very intentional in building relationships, and I'm still am, right? So when I launched my first book, the guy that assisted me was someone that I did not know. I just reached out to him out of the relationship that we built. I saw him on Facebook, reached out to him, introduced myself. My name is Ivan. I really like the fact that you're an author, you're coming from home. Do you mind if you can help him with the book launch? And the guy came through. Now it's like 7 years to 8 years. We're still the best friends. I'm so grateful for the opportunity and the relationship that we have. So the very, very fundamental thing that you must always be having in your minds, that must be intentional about building these relationships, right? Number two is that don't go in the world looking for things. I can tell you right now, without you having to pay me, the best things in life, you get them when you're not looking. The best relationships you get when you're not looking. The best jobs you get when you're not looking. The best deals on anything you get when you're not looking. So stop this mindset of always feeling that you are not enough, that you need something in your life to be able to compensate for whatsoever feeling that you have on inadequacy. Because it's always going to be better for you to work on the feeling of inadequacy than you going to find the things that you think you need for you to be able to feel like you're a sufficient person. So networking is a very fundamental thing. And what you want to do with networking is that you want to make sure that you get to that next stage of you build relationship that you don't need at that moment, and you just cultivate relationships. You just know people for the sake of people. You know the name of their dog, where they stay, what happened to them in 1978. You just know those things. Like, you just know people purely for that. And when the opportunity is right and when the time is right, as the Bible would say, things are just going to happen. Someone will just call you and say, you know what, I was talking to someone and I remembered that you did X. I was talking to someone and I remember that you have got a big business to do Y. That happens because you have been fostering and nurturing these relationships for over time. So networks is very important. And one of the things that I do is that I buy people lunch. I've been doing this for a while now, and I once did this like when I didn't even have money, my last money. So I will just say, you know what, this is a good person to know. This is a great relationship to foster. So what am I going to do is that I'm going to be in a situation where I ask this guy out. So I ask him out, buy him food, we have a conversation, we enjoy the relationship, and everything is fine. Then later in the stand of life, and then I get opportunity to do some great work with him or with whatever I would have went out with. So that's very important. So most of us, we don't realize the importance of this, because we are very much more fixated and we are so in love with our finances. So we'll just say to ourselves, no, I can't buy someone food randomly. But what you actually are doing when you do that, you're not buying them food. You're buying knowledge, you're buying time, you're buying access. But that's very much more important, because those are very rare things to get in life. Time, access, knowledge, that is very difficult to have in life. So take someone out for lunch and just have a conversation. Don't ask them anything, even if you're in a destitute. I remember I took people out when I didn't have money for lunch. I really took them out, and that has really served me well in my life right now. I'm moving away from that. The third one, this, guys, is very important. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this number 3, because you know we are living in a space where most people, they are very much more fixated on their qualifications. You know, if you talk to them, you can hear that they are so much obsessed with the fact that they've got NQ level 9 or NQ level 10. And you know, that is good. Education is good. I can tell you right now, I would not have known how Gauteng looks like if it was not for me coming here to study. So let me start from there. Education is important, right? Especially in South Africa, because you know, most of us, if we did not have that opportunity where you have to go to school and after that you have to go and look for a job, you wouldn't be in a situation where you are in an area or in a location or in a city that you have got access to opportunities. So education, it's important. Now, the second thing that I want to emphasize is that it's the importance of skills. And this is number 3. Skills, guys, very important. Yes, you have got this, but can you do this? What can you do? In most of the interviews, if it's not all the interviews that I've been, it's always been 20% qualifications and 80% questions. Can you configure this? Can you do this? When you've got a router doing this, when you've got a system doing this, it's always knowledge based and it has to do with practicality. Have you done these things before? Are you knowledgeable about these things? It's about skills. Can you configure a router? It's a like this thing is not something that you can say maybe or I can try. It's either you can do it or you can't do it, right? So you need to make sure that you learn skills. You need to make sure that you get your education up, yes, but make sure that if they say they need someone to build a house, you are 100% sure that you can build that house. That is having a skill. Not that, yeah, I can try to do, but it is going to depend on the number of houses or the number of rooms. No, having skills, guys, shouldn't be dependent on anything.